Hey, it's Jason with Jams.net. I'm here with my 2003 Chevy Silverado. It is the ultimate work truck for all of my projects. And I'm going to test this Foxwell NT201 code reader on it. If you don't have one of these code readers, this is a $49 semi-advanced reader. I'm going to put it to the test and show you what you can expect. If you have old cars, you got to have one. Let's test it out. Okay, so let's get this bad boy unboxed. This is $49 on Amazon. It's the NT201 by Foxwell. This is a Chinese-made scanner. It works with OBD2 cars, SUVs, trucks. It gives you everything you would need, but I'm told a little bit more of advanced functionality. You're going to get the actual device. You're going to get some instructions. You're going to get the USB cable, which is probably to provide updates and such to it. And the quick start guide. Your cable, displays, buttons. You basically plug it into the OBD2 port. You turn the ignition on the car. You can start the scanner. And you can retrieve specific codes. So let's just see how good this is. And again, this would be to update it. You would basically download the update from their website. Since I just bought it, I'm going to assume it's ready to go. Check it out on the Silverado. I'm very curious to see what functionality it gives you. This is what you would pay a dealership like $80 to diagnose. They're basically hooking it up to one of their fancy scanners. Let's see how this scanner goes on this 300,000 mile, nearly 300,000 mile Chevy Silverado. All right, so I'm going to start the car up. Occasionally, I have an error code on this. Of course, today I don't. And then you take this end and you would plug into the OBD2 port on the Silverado. It's right there. And when you do that, it's going to power up and begin to give you some functionality. So let's unpackage this and see what all we can do. So the buttons are pretty easy to use. I clicked enter. I didn't want to do that. I did not want to do that. Escape. Yes. So escape. I want to get back to the main page. Yes, yes, I want to escape. So these are the functionalities you get. You can look up the codes, you can review them, you can go into setup. I'm going to go right into the scan mode. I'm going to select enter. And it's basically going to start scanning right away. Pretty darn easy. So it's given me a few things. The good news is I do not have any codes, but we're going to go ahead and say read codes. I want to read any stored codes that I have. I have no stored codes because there are no codes showing up. If there's any pending codes, it would show there's nothing here. You can look at some live data. This is what differentiates from some of the super cheap ones you can buy at like AutoZone or Napa. That super cheap ones being like the $19 ones. This will actually give you some live data. Let's peel this sticker off, huh? Look at that. Make it even shinier and even more fancy. So when you go to live data, this is where you can really say, hey, I think I have a fuel pump issue. You know, is my fuel pump turning on? Is it doing what I think it should do? So we can go to view data. Oh, let's go back to where I was. Live data. It's going to start collecting some data for me. I'm going to say view data. I'm going to look at the complete data set. And you can see here, like the load the vehicles under. You can see the fuel system. You can just see all kinds of things that are happening on the electronics of the car and the computer. My RPMs right now, so I can click enter here, and you can actually graph out what your revolutions per minute are. In this case, I'm about 651 to 680. That's actually super cool. You can look at your spark. I want to see if there's like engine temperature or something like that in here. I'm sure there is, but you can just see a lot of functionality in this little tiny $49 Foxwell scanner. So this is where you can begin to see not just is there a code, but what's happening with the live data as I go. Let's go into Spark and see what that's all about. So again, it's graphing it. So I assume this is the spark that's happening on the plugs and such. You can see this is 21 degrees Celsius. IAT. I honestly don't know what that is, but if you think about Celsius, we can kind of begin to think about what is that, because I'm going to be in Fahrenheit. So 21 degrees Celsius is 69 degrees Fahrenheit. I have to guess that's like outdoor exterior temperature or something that the car is reading. So what you're going to get with this bad boy, you're going to actually, I'm going to go to unit of measure, and I can change that. I'm going to go to English, and I want to go back. So then if you go back in here, you can see that it's going to actually have that temperature probably in Fahrenheit for me. Yeah, see, Fahrenheit, 69 degrees. So I didn't have to convert it, so you get that functionality. You can record the data set as well. You can go into freeze flames. Look, let's do an oxygen an O2 monitor test. Enter. I'm going to look and do bank 1. It's going to communicate and do an O2 sensor test. So this is really handy if you have an emissions that you have to pass in your state. You can make sure that everything is running and there are no negatives or no issues. Now this is going to charge me to do a rich test. So there are going to be some fees. It looks like to buy some additional modules, it will be like $10. But you can just do a lot in here. And you can even look at things like the vehicle information, and you can see all kinds of good stuff. So overall, a really small, easy to use, pretty darn easy Foxwell NT201 scanner. Pretty easy to use, and it gives you some really good functionality. And like you can start seeing check marks here and see if there's any specific issues happening. And then let's go down to review. What's review all about? That's modules that you have. Pretty darn cool. This is something you just keep in the glove box. So what's the deal? Do I like this little Foxwell NT201? For 49 bucks, I certainly do. And if you have a vehicle with an OBD2 sensor, you absolutely need a scanner. Some of my scanners on my Land Rovers are hundreds of dollars. I need the advanced functionality. But for basic functionality and just to be informed, absolutely. And if you go and look at a used car, and if you're like me, you're on Facebook Marketplace and you're looking at them all the time, if you take this little guy, you can very quickly see if there's any engine codes or any issues with emissions or something along those lines. So it has worked fantastic on the Silverado. I'm going to keep it in the glove box, and if something pops up, I'll be able to diagnose it. This is Jason with jams.net, Cars, DIY, and Adventures. I appreciate you tuning in. I'll appreciate it even more if you give me a subscribe. Until next time, have a great day.